I'm a pre-nursing student, and pretty much I'm going to be talking about the Hesi A2 assessment exam. Pretty much this test is for nursing students, or pre-nursing, not nursing students. It is for pre-nursing students who like to get into nursing school. It is pretty much the nursing entrance exam. And I'm going to be going over the reading, math, anatomy, which is the science section, one of the science sections, vocabulary, critical thinking, and grammar. So pretty much I'm going to be going over all of those, and then I'm going to be going over the resources that you guys will need to study for each section as well towards the end of this video. So pretty much, let's see. So the number of questions throughout this exam is a lot of questions. This exam is timed. I think it's like 3 or 4 hours, I'm pretty sure, but I took like an hour and a half or 2 hours, so it technically wasn't that bad. On the math section, there is 50 questions. Reading is 55, vocabulary is 50, grammar is 50. And then on the anatomy, it's 25, and then chemistry and biology is 25 as well. Now, the good thing is, for the nursing schools that I'm going to apply to, they don't require biology or physics. Those are not, allowed on the test, because even if you take them, they're not going to count them. So I'm super glad about that, because one, I just really thought that physics wasn't even needed to get into nursing school. I'm just like, what am I going to use physics for? So I'm just really glad I didn't need to take that. But that's pretty much it. Those are the how much questions are going to be on each section, and I'm going to get right into the video of pretty much how I felt about each section that I took. So the first section was reading. If I'm looking up, I have, sticky notes that are going to help me refer back to what I need to talk about. But the first section is reading. That was pretty much straightforward. It went over like main ideas, summary, author's point of view. And I suggest that you guys practice many reading passages, as much reading passages as possible, so you can get the feeling of how you look for certain things whatever they ask on certain questions as well. But I think it was pretty straightforward. The questions were really straightforward. Just make sure you look carefully and don't rush too much, but keep a good pace when you're reading the questions, so you pretty much know that you're not going to choose a wrong answer in that specific moment. And don't spend too much time on the question for any of these sections as well, because make sure, just remember that it's a time test as well. The next section I'm going to be going over is the math section. So a majority of the test, there was proportions, ratios, and fractions. The rest was pretty much basic algebra, 2 or 3 conversions for me, and also there were a few word problems. The good thing is I did not get any of those questions that ask for perimeter or area, especially the ones that have those irregular shapes. I'm very glad they did not have those irregular shapes, because I did practice those, but I'm just like, I feel like it was going to take too much time on the test, and I'm okay with those questions, but the good thing is I did great overall on that section. The next section is the anatomy section. That section was really basic to me. Very easy. Very straightforward questions, just like the reading was. All you guys need to know is to practice your anatomy. There are a few questions for the physiology side of it, but pretty much just know your basic anatomy. If you know your basic anatomy, if you have taken Anatomy 1 or Anatomy 2, but if you have most definitely taken Anatomy 1, which is highly important for this specific test, you will most definitely do really well on that specific section. For the vocabulary, which is the next section, pretty much just use your context clues. Now, you can't obviously use your context clues when it just gives you a question that's saying, what does ubiquitous mean, for example. But if it's used in a sentence, like how you would speak to a regular person in real life or in a regular conversation, use your context clues to make sure you understand, what the simple word out of the complex word or the difficult word might come out of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And for vocabulary, pretty much just study as much vocabulary words as you can on any website or any other resource that I will be talking about towards the end of the video. The next section is the grammar. The grammar section, it was pretty easy too. it's very difficult when you're, doing your practice test before the test or doing any practice questions. And you might think that a certain sentence or, a certain word counts as, speaking right. Pretty much a certain sentence might, sound right to you in real life, when on the test, it's not, unfortunately. And the good thing is I learned about, the pronouns, adjectives, conjunctions, and using those, and just, using any other term that might help me on the grammar section to know how I can be able to structure my sentences correctly and to make sure they sound right, on the test as well. So that's pretty much how the grammar section was. The next section I'll be talking about is the critical thinking section. This is the last section. And also I forgot to mention that whenever you're taking your Hesi A2 exam, I took it online on proctoru.com. Of course, because COVID right now is going on, unfortunately, and I did not want to wait till the school opened, and I probably wasn't going to go up to my school and take it anyways because COVID. So I took it on proctoru.com. That's pretty much a proctoring site for any test. I took it for the Hesi A2, of course, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. The first time I had some issues, but I forgot to mention that you can choose whatever section you want to go to first. I was shocked about that because usually it just gives you a section and you got to start right away. But you can choose any section you want. I think I started with let me see. I started with the science first. Yeah. I started with the science first. And it just went pretty easy right then and there. I've heard a lot of YouTubers who are, pre-nursing students or nursing students, they have said they have taken the reading section because you can get a little bit tired for the reading section. But in my case, that was not for me. I wasn't tired. I actually did the reading last. So, whatever section is helpful to you, whatever section you want to knock out right away, whatever section that you are confident in and want to get over right away, do that first. I promise you. So you can just get it out of the way and know that you have succeeded. And also, every section you finish, you get your results right away. I forgot to tell y'all that my result overall was an 84, which is pretty good for the nursing schools that I want to get into, along with my GPA as well. So I'm very, very happy about that score. But yeah, they give you your scores individually for each section right after you finish them, so you know pretty much what you need to make or what you need to make higher in on the next section. But moving on, the critical thinking, you just pretty much have to put yourself in the nurse's shoes. This is for a critical thinking section. That section pretty much gives you different situations and different scenarios of how you would handle certain things in the hospital, whether, for example, I had one question, well, actually a couple questions, that there's 4 different scenarios. And, one was like, a patient throwing up. Second one was a patient is bleeding everywhere. A third one was the patient is running around the hospital crazily. And, the fourth one is your boss needs you for something that's not work related. Which one would you go to first? Which one would you attend to first? And you had to choose the best answer. I mean, literally, there probably isn't no right or wrong answer, but the best one that you would do in real life, because this exam obviously is preparing you to become a better nurse and preparing you to know like how you would handle situations as a future nurse as well. So yeah, that's pretty much how it was for the critical thinking section exam. The critical thinking section. And let's see, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the resources, since I have finished talking about each section. Now the resources, the first resource is test-questions.com. That website was very, very, very helpful to me. It went through pretty much all the questions that you need for reading, math. There's pretty much for all the sections that you might need. I think you have to purchase something. I think it's like the whole package. I forgot what it costs, but it's test-questions.com. It's a website for the Hesi, and it's also for the T's as well. But it's a really great practice site for just practicing questions on any section. Now, the next website is nursehub.com, nursehub.com. So pretty much this website is a lot better to me than the test-questions.com section. Not section, but test-questions.com website. Nursehub.com is a lot better because it goes over all sorts of questions for each section. And also, if you get a question wrong on nursehub.com, they will pretty much tell you why you got it wrong and what you need to work on in that specific section. And it's pretty much $49.99 for the Hesi full package. Before, it just gives you like, if you don't want to get the package, it pretty much gives you the same questions for each section. So I recommend the $50 if you would like to spend, that amount of money. But it helped me to get through, to make sure I was confident, to make sure I was, going in the test, making sure I knew everything pretty much to the fullest. And then the third resource is Hesi Pocket Prep. I'm going to put the picture right here. This is an app, Hesi Pocket Prep. And this is pretty much an app that has so many questions for each section as well. Now, the premium upgrade is $24.99. It has 1,530 total practice questions. And also it has a daily question as well. So pretty much if you want to practice just anything, if you want to just practice any question, and just, whether it's like 1 or 10 questions, you can practice that, and that will most definitely help you on each section as well. And then I have an anatomy Quizlet. Now, this anatomy Quizlet, I found this from one of the YouTube videos I was watching to help me prepare for the Hesi test. But this anatomy Quizlet is just exactly like the anatomy section. I'm going to link that in the description below so y'all guys can get that as well. And then the next resource is the Hesi Assessment Admission book, the 4th edition. I'm going to put it right here. Now this book, it is very, very good, specifically for the vocabulary section, in my opinion. Now, any other section it is good to refresh over, but I think it's most definitely good for the vocabulary section. This book was $1.90. I know, right? $1.90. Y'all probably might not believe me. Scratch that. Y'all probably might not believe me that it was $1.90. But yes, it was $1.90. And it was a PDF on eBay. Shoot. Good deal to me. So yes, it was $1.90. This book was very good. Like I said, for the vocabulary, pretty much it's the words within the book. Some of the words most definitely have shown up on the test that I have taken. So I definitely recommend you guys to go get that book. And then the last 2 resources that I have used are YouTubers. There's 3 in total that I have. 2 of them are math, for the math section, and 1 of them is for the grammar. Now, I highly recommend Brandon Craft, Brandon Craft, Craft. He is really, really good at doing any problem, any situation that you need for preparation for the Hesi exam. He goes over anything, proportions, conversions, ratios, anything you might need help on. He actually has his own website as well. That'll probably be in his description in one of those videos as well. So I definitely recommend you guys go and check him out. There's also this one YouTuber called Math and then Dude. He is really good at the same thing. He does step-by-steps for any situation or any math problem you might need to work through. And also he's really good at acronyms, like for conversions, like for the metric conversion, like King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. He's really good at those specifically, and he's really good at any other thing pretty much as well. I highly recommend those 2 for math and to really work through those math problems, because once you continue to work through, there will be a breeze on the test. And the last resource that I have, her name is Carolyn McAllister, Carolyn McAllister, McAllister. Now she is really, oh my God, no, she is really good for the grammar section. I highly recommend her on that as well. She pretty much goes through all definitions of what you need to know whenever they ask you a certain thing, a certain word on the question, on the test. So like pretty much if you need to know about pronouns, they'll be like, what is this pronoun? Well, you need to know what pronoun means. So if you know what that means, you'll figure out what the actual pronoun is within that sentence, for example. She goes through adjectives, subject-verb agreements, anything that you need to know for this Hesi test exam. Overall, those were my resources that have helped me throughout this test. I suggest you guys do your own research as well to make sure you go through other resources that may have helped you, that might help you throughout this journey of practicing for the Hesi assessment exam. So I thank you guys so much for coming across this video. If you have made it this far, I'm shocked, and I thank you so much, and I hope this video has helped, and I hope you guys do well throughout your nursing journey if you are a pre-nursing student, or if you are currently a nursing student as well. Thank you so much, and make sure to tune in to my next video, whatever that is. But yeah, thank you so much.